So I've talked about the purpose of this course and the intention behind it, and I've talked a little bit about my background and how I got into working with families of treatment clients. So one more thing before we get going. I'm going to take just a minute to talk about how we're going to use this course so you can have a better idea of what this is going to look like going forward. So as I said, it's based on material from my book, RehabWorks. So if you haven't done so already, you'll probably want to go ahead and read that from start to finish. But if you haven't read it yet, don't wait to start the course till you finish the book. You want to get started with the course as soon as possible, but read the book too. So technically, this is a program that's designed for family members to begin using when a loved one enters the primary phase of a drug or alcohol treatment program. It consists of 4 modules. Module 1 starts off with a thorough presentation on substance use disorder. So right out of the gate, we're going to answer the question, what does it mean when we say that someone has a drug problem? There's a lot of confusion about the answer to that question, and that confusion can end up causing a lot of problems in treatment. But this module specifically addresses some of the areas where we tend to see a lot of misinformation, misperceptions, or just flat-out denial about what it means to have a problem. And by getting everybody on the same page, in other words, when you're learning the same thing that the clients are learning, it levels the conversation and creates alignment between you, the client, and the treatment team. And that's the straightest path to removing some of the most common obstacles we see in treatment these days with regard to power struggles and arguments, especially when it comes to young people. Module 2 then shifts over into setting the stage for treatment success by giving you the kind of tools that are going to increase your effectiveness with regard to treatment support. And that starts with learning how to set boundaries that are going to restore family stability and allow you to participate in treatment from a position of control. The premise of RehabWorks is that there's a lot the family can do that will ultimately give your loved one the best chance for treatment success. And this is where we're going to start showing you what that is. Then in Module 3, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of looking at exactly what goes into developing an effective recovery plan. Using the analogy that we're building a foundation for recovery, we talk about some of the most common areas where it's easy to end up with cracks in the foundation. And we don't want cracks in the foundation. Because in this business, little cracks can turn into big cracks real quick. And when someone relapses, it's usually pretty easy to look back and see where the cracks were. We want that foundation to be as solid as possible, and Module 3 is where we're going to show you what that looks like. Module 4 is where we talk about how addiction affects the entire family. We'll look at codependency, what Al-Anon is all about, and how important the concept of family recovery is for treatment success. We'll also start looking at the bigger picture with regard to defining treatment success. It gives you some tools for monitoring your progress and emphasizes the importance of maintaining this on an ongoing basis. So as far as how long it takes to complete the course, there's a couple things to consider here. You have access to the course website for 3 months. So technically, you could divvy up the modules equally, spend 3 weeks on each module, and complete the course in 12 weeks. However, it's important to keep in mind that the course is designed to be delivered during the primary phase of treatment. And that means there could be a lot of variables as far as how long that's going to last. So regardless of whether the client's going to be in treatment for 3 weeks or 3 months, to make this the most effective, it's got to be sort of front-end intensive. You want to stay a step ahead of this treatment process. You want to know what's coming, you want to know how to respond to situations when they arise, and you want to be prepared for moving forward. The bottom line is you should complete modules 1 through 3 as quickly as possible. Module 1 only takes an hour, so you can easily get that done and be well into Module 2 within your first week of treatment. And just by doing that, that's going to give you a great head start towards a really productive treatment experience. Module 4 then is designed to be a little more extended as it helps you keep your head in the process and reinforces that you don't just do this for a few weeks and then go back to not thinking about it anymore. Remember, one of the biggest barriers to treatment success is not hanging in there for as long as it takes to really make sure this is solid. So the course is presented through a combination of short videos, PDF material, and interactive worksheets. Each video or PDF is usually followed by a short 3 or 4 question quiz. Now don't worry, you're not going to get graded on all this. The quizzes are there just to reinforce the important points and help you learn this in the most effective way possible. So for example, Module 1 happens to be all videos. So you'll watch the video, take the quiz, watch the next video, take the quiz, and go through it like that. Now one hint I'll give you. The way the software works here is if you don't pass the quiz, it'll make you go back and take it over again. So I'd encourage you to, instead of guessing on some of the answers, take an extra minute or two to go back to the video or PDF and look for the specific answer that the question's pointing to. There's a good chance that'll save you some time in the long run because you won't end up having to go back and take the quiz over 3 or 4 times by just guessing at the answers. You can either toggle back and forth by clicking on the arrows on the right-hand side of the menu bar at the top of your screen, or you could open a second browser, bring the course up there, and then be looking at the quiz in one window and the video in the other. Or you could be really old school and just take notes with a pen and paper. Then another feature, just to make things a little easier for you. Before every video or PDF, there's a preview screen that has a section on it that says Quiz Hints. So as the name implies, that's going to give you a pretty good idea of what to be watching for as you go through the material, because it basically tells you what the questions are going to be. Okay, last thing, a couple of minor technical things just to make sure everything goes smooth for you here. First of all, there's a button at the bottom of every screen that says Mark as completed and continue. So you click on that to go to the next screen. Now, depending on the device you're using, there might be times when you don't see that at the bottom, especially when you're watching the videos. Now, you made it to this video, so you obviously must have found it on the first 2, but just remember that you might have to scroll down a little bit if you don't see it. One other thing then when you're watching the videos, you can click in the lower right-hand corner to enter into the full screen mode, and that can give you a little better view while you're watching the video. Then just click in that same place again or press the escape button on the top left part of your keyboard to get back into the regular view when you're done with the video so you can proceed to the next one. Okay, so that's going to wrap up all the introduction stuff for this course, and it's time for me to get out of here and let you get going. So next up, Module 1, What's the Problem?